Two different websites have suggested that the Detroit Lions trade for this player. And a case can be made. The Bleacher Report suggested it. Then A to Z Sports filed with an independent report that suggested it. Because the Las Vegas Raiders have acquired Jacoby Myers and DeAndre Carter, the belief is that Hunter Renfrow, the wide receiver, could be available on the trade market. He's 27. He's in the last year of his contract. 2 years ago, he was over 100 receptions and 9 touchdowns. He got hurt last year. They obviously upgraded at the position. Now, he's a slot receiver. He's not an outside guy. And it feels like there'd be some redundancy of that here in Detroit. But the belief is you could get him for a very low draft pick. Do you have any interest in Hunter Renfrow?
I love Hunter Renfrow, the player. And for a team that needs a slot receiver, a possession receiver, I don't think you can go wrong with that. Mm-hmm. And sure, cheap price sounds great. I hate the idea here in Detroit. It makes no sense here in Detroit. What Detroit needs is a wide receiver, not a slot receiver. We need somebody that's going to help out for the first 6 weeks of the season and probably the first half of the season. And then we know what happens. Wide receivers always get hurt. Nice to have depth. But I'd like it to be someone of a more stature than Hunter Renfrow. Someone's going to play outside because we've got one of the best slot receivers in football in Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't want to put Amon-Ra St. Brown outside because the success the Lions have had with Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, the rapport they've built up, is because he's a slot receiver. So I don't want to change that up. I can add somebody else, but I don't need to move Amon-Ra St. Brown around. He's fine where he's at. And when I look at the list of available free agents that cost me no draft capital, there are still some big names out there, really good wide receivers, that playing the waiting game might really benefit the Lions. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, no, you don't have to. It's going to cost you a lot of money, and he's still out there. But a couple steps below that, what about Julio Jones? He's available.
Yeah.
What about Jarvis Landry? He's available. Now, don't have to do the Kenny Golladay experiment, but, I mean, if they sign Kenny Golladay for cheap, I wouldn't mind. Just see if he still has anything. But I'm not married to it. That's just a name. T.Y. Hilton's another receiver that's out there. N'Keal Harry, big receiver, played with New England, didn't really work out there. I mean, does that make sense for somebody who could sub or fill in for a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are free agents that don't cost you anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's potentially a steal for a late. I mean, with 1 year left on his contract, the belief is that Hunter Renfrow could be had for a day 3 pick, which, I mean, a late day 3 pick, 6th-round pick. Sure, if you want to shuffle some guys around, it's interesting that Detroit has been targeted. I mean, the belief out there is that Detroit is thin at wide receiver because of the Jameson Williams suspension. And it feels as though the Lions are either thinking they're all set, but I think they are doing what you suggest. They're waiting. They're going to add a receiver, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, somebody could be released. You know, you don't have to do anything. You let it go to training camp here and you see what happens. Now, the problem is that it seems like you need time to build that rapport with Jared Goff. Mm-hmm. He has made it plain and clear that that's what's helped these guys out over the last couple of years, and what's helped him out is that he's had time to work with these guys. And, you know, having Josh Reynolds here, he played with him before, so it was easy to do that. And starting in training camp right away with Amon-Ra St. Brown, they built up that relationship, and he's starting to do that anymore. He's got it with Khalif Raymond, been here for a couple of years. So they've got that steady rapport. What happens when you bring somebody brand new to the mix? It's going to take a little bit. I really like Hunter Renfrow, but it's not I don't think it's the right fit for this team.